Hey YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Guys, thanks for joining me this morning. Happy Tuesday morning to everyone. Don't forget to join me tomorrow night on Trends in the Housing Market, 6:30 p.m. Western Seaboard time. That's LA time, Seattle time, Oregon time, Tijuana time, Vancouver time. Don't forget to join, guys. I got a really good one. And we're going to add this, I'm going to start adding this on Wednesday nights. Utah. Before you flick the switch and move on to the next channel, you got to see what's happening in Utah, and I got it all laid out here as a blueprint for you guys. This is really good. It's bad, but it's good, so you guys understand what's happening. And I think it all boils down to politicians. I think it boils down to the politicians themselves that are lining their pockets. There's no other way the circumstances could point to anywhere else. So, 9 reasons why people from California moved to Utah. So I'm going to start off with this article to kind of give you guys. So Utah for many years has been trying to get people to relocate there and stuff. Taxes, bad for business. Living in California can also be difficult. Traffic is bad in California. Housing prices in California. Skiing, California may have skiing. Community, Utah is the fastest growing state. Scenery, well-being. So they're all looking at, why you should leave, why people are leaving California, taxes, bad for business, traffic, the whole 9 yards. And you see this and you're like, wow, you see this in your vista and you're like, wow, I want to move there, I want to be there, I want to check that place out, man, I want to walk, I want to hike. But Utah's having a major issue. So let's start with the first article, and they're all chronologically by date. So it starts like this, last year. Is it last year or early this year? So it's June. Watch this, guys. Watch how fast things go. They're in between a couple of weeks of each other. So, Utah may see a wave of wealthy people buying million-dollar homes, and it could drive up prices for everyone. So, this is what happened everywhere else, in every other English-speaking major city. Wealthy out-of-states, drawn by Utah's many charms, have lifted sales by million-dollar homes along with Wasatch Front in recent years. Now, thanks to the latest federal tax reform, some economists are predicting that steady flow of rich homebuyers could turn into a flood, potentially pushing already high housing prices even higher. Be the ivy-clad mansions, Salt Lake City's Federal Heights, or Harvard-Yale districts, upscale new dwellings in the avenues. So this is what's happening, guys. Let me go to this part right here. Everything's going up, said Todd Anderson, president of Park Board City of Realtors. So everything is going up. So guys, we got ourselves a bit of a problem. Because this house should be worth $240 there in Utah, maybe $265. A house like this, probably $320. If that. The $320 is high. But if that. That's how it was 2-3 years ago. Now let's go to the next article. Utah's housing crisis worsens. Business leaders launch campaign to change public sentiment. So there they go. They're going to start building more. Because remember the supply and demand. Amid widening evidence that Utah's affordable housing crunch is worsening, businesses and community leaders met Thursday in Salt Lake City for the first several big tent meetings to address the problem. Salt Lake Chamber is launching a major public awareness campaigning meant to highlight dramatically rising home prices, shrinking affordability, and historic gap in Utah between the number of households and available housing units. That deficit is now estimated at 250,000 homes. Derek Miller, Chamber President and CEO, called for the housing shortage one of the greatest challenges we face. Failing to address, he said, threatens Utah's quality of life and record-breaking economic growth. People are getting squeezed out. And Abby Osborne, the Chamber's Vice President and Public Policy Government Affairs. So that's what's going on there, people. Hold on, someone's messaging me at the same time. In the first series of quarterly meetings, the Chamber gathered nearly 200 elected officials, developers, bankers, and professional planners, media specialists, and housing advocates Thursday in hopes of getting their support for what has been dubbed the Housing Gap Coalition. Housing Gap. They're calling it the Housing Gap down there. That's not bad. Median home prices, here we go. This is the part I wanted to get to. Median home prices in Utah soared from a generation swelling from $125,000 in 1991, so I wasn't off
saying those houses were $200,000-$300,000. The $347 today. Wow. 347 is high for Utah. 300 maybe for the very higher end homes. Without action, several officials warned housing prices in Utah's urban centers will be completely, and those in San Francisco median price at $700,000 or above in 9 years. So what's happening is the middle class is got nowhere left to run. Now, next one ties into it. Now they're calling housing shortage evident across Utah. It's not housing shortage. Start counting up how many empty units you have that are investment-owned properties. Then start calculating around that, roughly. If there's no housing shortage. If people will start leaving Utah just like they left California, there's going to have to be something. Something's going to have to give somewhere. And they're going to just have to keep raising interest rates. Or, right now, China's put a lot of capital outflows on their money that's coming in. So anyways, I wanted to put that out there. So Utah's booming housing market is outpacing workers' wage, threatening the states with an affordable housing crisis, according to the new research and University of Utah. Since 2010, Utah has been among the nation's fastest growing population and fastest growing economies, resulting in more demand than the supply adequate for housing can meet. The result, increase in prices, is outpacing the growth of wages, and households below the median income are facing a severe burden, sometimes spending under 50% of their income for housing, according to the report released on Tuesday. 50% in Vancouver, that's like 70%! So they're left, they got a pie. So this is what's happening in Vancouver. I've been preaching this for years in Australia, to people in Australia, New Zealand, it's happening everywhere. You're going to get bought out by the highest bidder. It doesn't matter. You work 4 or 5 jobs. You're spending all your money. All your money is going to go towards shelter. Basic shelter. So, more people, less room. That's not true, guys. In the 4 decades to 1970, the construction of to 2010, the construction of units exceeded the numbers of people needing homes by the average 15%, according to the report. But those figures have flipped in recent years, with the number of households having increased by 162,000 over the past 6 years, compared to an addition only 111,455 housing units. The Salt Lake City Valley, so the next article, sees wave of new home building, but prices are still rising. This is happening in London. Let's get our green space all taken away and build more. Build. Remember the mayor of London saying that? Oh, we need to build more. We need to build more in Vancouver. Supply and demand. Sydney. Toronto. San Francisco. San Diego. Everywhere. Edinburgh. Dublin, London, it's all the same. It doesn't work. It's not supply and demand is the issue. The Salt Lake City sees wave of new home building and prices are still rising. So they think the more they put on the markets, the more the prices will go down. This is from 2 days ago. Reversion, home building has surged along the Wasatch Front, but those waves of new constructions are doing little to make housing more affordable. Several reports indicate sustainable increases in new home and apartment constructions across Utah's urban core and up into the summit of Wasatch counties over the first half of 2018, with thousands of new dwellings slated to come online for sale and rent. But basic construction costs also continue to rise on everything from land to labor, lumber, and steel, pushing up prices. Even supplies expand. There's tons of new construction. Salt Lake City real estate mayor Mary Peterson said in one busy morning last week, as she showed newly built homes for sale in Riverton and Mill Creek. And people want new, she quipped, but they don't necessarily have $800,000 budget to do it. So the average prices for a newly built home in Salt Lake City are now estimated just shy of 400,000. Remember the other article? And even listing price for new homes are considered a bargain in most pockets of the country. So this is what's happening. California got bought out. Seattle got bought out. Most of King County and most of Seattle surrounding area and other parts, Olympia and parts like that, Tacoma, right across the border. A lot of people fled when Vancouver put in the foreign buyers tax. A lot of people fled south of the border to Washington State. And there's already more, there has been for the last 8 to 10 years, people coming from Asia over into California already buying that out for many years now. Portland, Oregon's tipping at $401,000, where people can't afford to live there. So $401,000 is tipping right now for Oregon. So everyone's moving eastward. Nevada, Las Vegas is seeing 100,000 Californians per year move in. And 100,000 more to come, that's the article said. And I did not know Salt Lake City, Utah, like Utah in general was this bad. So it's the same pattern happening all over. Now, again, last article. Utah's quality of life drops, housing costs among the top concerns. Again, now quality of life starts to drop, and housing costs are concern.
Air quality and the cost of housing. Those three issues, is that what a new survey says, that are bringing down the quality of life in Utah.
News specialist Ladd Egan's live tonight. And Ladd, you would think the quality of life would go up with our strong economy.
Yeah, and you know, Utah's economy, the envy of the nation, some say, but not everyone says that means that they perceive their quality of life as better. Utahns from all over the state said their top concerns are air and water quality, quality of public schools, the availability of green spaces, traffic and streetscapes, basically how beautiful things are. And this is the main concern, finding an affordable place to live.
While people individually may feel pretty good about things, they're seeing that their community quality of life isn't maybe as good as it was 5 years ago.
The Utah Foundation Community Quality of Life Index now stands at 70 points, down 3 points since 2013.
It may not seem like a lot, but that is a statistically significant decrease. We can pretty comfortably say that quality of life has decreased over that period of time.
Researchers say the top concern is that Utah's rapidly rising housing costs have made many Utahns feel like rents and ownership are no longer affordable.
Jobs in the economy used to be at the bottom of the list. It has changed places with affordable housing. Affordable housing is now by far at the bottom of the list.
We have jobs. Now we need places to live.
Real estate agent Eric Gardner says home buyers and renters are struggling because of a shortage of housing.
Builders can't keep up. And then you see all the new apartments being built around downtown. They're all pretty high-end luxury type stuff.
Prices look to continue to rise, he says, as home buyers compete to get an offer accepted, sometimes against people moving into the state with more purchasing power.
And I've had some clients that they get frustrated and they eventually quit looking. They just get discouraged. They're like, maybe now's not the time.
It's an outcome of our success.
Governor Gary Herbert says as the fastest growing state, it's expected that Utah will have these types of growth issues.
We have more jobs, we have people. And so housing now is feeling that pinch, and the cost of housing is going up.
Governor Herbert says the state is looking at ways to help keep housing affordable by working with local city governments and home builders to look at zoning and other solutions. Deanie, the only component of this community survey that went up is the availability of good jobs in Utah, but that's what they say is to blame for the lack of housing. So you can see it's hard to win here and have a problem-free Utah.
Right, exactly. It's a cyclical process. Hopefully they can find some solutions, though, as they're looking at that.
Finding a solution, good luck. And it's Vancouver try to find a solution for it. And now it's intermigration within the country. So they're intermigrating. So the Californians that sold their homes in San Francisco for $2 million, $1 million for the average median home, go to Utah, Nevada, go Arizona, all these other states, and they go and they just purchase because they can. Because they can. And it really hurts because now I have a feeling in the future, a lot of like the mayor of Los Angeles is going to have a really hard problem keeping citizens living in the city. taxpayers, people that actually pay taxes and contribute from their checks to their pensions or 401ks, people that actually contribute towards the infrastructure. They're going to have a really tough time because they're going to be sitting on a bunch of empty homes there, especially in San Diego. The amount of empty homes in San Diego, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Look it up and see for yourself. You won't believe it. Anyways, let's keep going. And now, last but not least, in your opinion, high-density housing will be the future of Utah. Now they're moving towards high-density housing. No more beautiful backyard swimming pools. It is going to be just like the city of Vancouver, where they're removing detached homes. They're going to start taking detached homes, and the city of Vancouver passed a law. And it's going to happen here in Utah and in California. And Vancouver is the blueprint of the rest of the world. And so is Sydney. Sorry, Sydney and Vancouver, the two cities. What they're going to start doing is they passed a law, so there's no more zoning problems and everything. You could build townhomes or low-rise condos pretty much anywhere you want, and townhomes. So they could gobble up 2-3 homes and build 7, 8, 12 townhomes. And that's the future of Utah right now. The future of the Utah's housing will likely rest on high-density projects, unnecessary components, and accommodation of population growth and lowering housing costs. As such, key leaders must exercise a spirit of compromise and thoughtful foresight to avoid making this issue a needless division for years to come. So, guys, I need to know what you guys think. If you're on Utah, please add me to Skype. I'd like to have you on my show, Mike, Trends in the Housing Market. It is Mike Martins 1980. Mike, M-I-K-E-M-A-R-T-I-N-S 1980 1980. Mike Martins 1980. Add me on Skype. I want to know if you're in Utah. I want to know what's happening on the ground there. I want to know. Share this video. Get it out. I've been doing housing videos for the last 7-8 years now. Abnormalities in the markets that are not normal. People borrowing more than what they could afford. What's going to happen in Utah in the next 2 to 3 years? You're going to start seeing people cashing out the equity in their homes that they bought and living off the equity and living the good life for a couple of years until interest rates start creeping up and until they have to start paying and servicing this debt. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. The U.S. is set to raise interest rates another 2 more times before the end of this year. We'll see what happens with that. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.